Hello, friends, and welcome to the new world of learning with Hello English. We have been in constant touch with you all with respect to learning English and learning new things regarded with regards to English. We have been also concentrating on how good are you in pronouncing those words and the meanings of the words and the words that confuse you. So, in all, we have been helping you out to learn English. English not as in a bookish language, but English as in a language of your own language that you would like to use in the world. In today's world, learning English, speaking English, and using it into our day to day conversation is very important. Why is it important? Because we have to prove that we are in sync with the world right now. We are with the speed that the world expects us to, right? In today's world, no matter you are an engineer, you are a doctor, you are a big shot businessman, but still it's very essential for you to know English, to speak English, and to communicate in the language that is called a world language, right? We have conducted a lot of webinars, and we have been getting a wonderful response from you all with respect to whatever we are serving you with. And today, obviously, we are up with some different topic, that is confusing words and how do we express ourselves, and why is expression a very important part of a language, and why is it that we need to be very expressive while we communicate some things. Because if you look at something that is called communication, the maximum or the bigger chunk moves with non-verbal communication. Communication is of two types. One is verbal communication, the other is non-verbal communication. Now, what do I mean when I say non-verbal communication? The communication that happens with your eyes, the communication which happens with your body language, the communication that happens when you are not speaking but still communicating, right? If you have seen birds, if you have seen animals, if you have seen people who are special, that means who are not blessed with the ability of speaking and listening, they use some language that is called a sign language. So even they communicate. How do they communicate? They communicate by using their finger gestures, and by using their eyes, and by showing their happiness with the help of a smile, and sadness by putting a gloomy face on. So we are blessed individuals that we have been blessed with everything that one needs in this world. We can speak, we can write, we can listen, we can think, we can formulate, and then we can communicate also. So welcome all to this whole new world of English with Hello English. This is Pratishtha, and let us start with what I have today in the box. So today we would be looking at confusing words. Now, what do these words call? These words are also called homophones or homonyms, because these words either look alike, or they have a completely different meaning, and they also look alike. Maybe in some instances the spellings are same, but they have a different meaning. In some places the spellings are different, but the pronunciation still remains the same. Like if you look at the first word, accept and accept, these are two different, absolutely different words, which we many a times get confused, and we look at people who use them in a very different way. So accept is to accept something, to receive whatever you receive. You say, yes, I did accept your greetings. And accept, so everyone is allowed in my class except the one who comes late. So accept, I am segregating someone when I say accept, and I am accepting everything when I say accept. Then there's another word, that is advise and advise. See, advise and advise, they look very similar, and out of 100, if I can count upon, 99 people make mistake with this kind of a word called advise. So one is SE, the other is CE. So if you look at the words, they both have different meanings. What is the meaning of advice with the C is recommendations about what you should do. So if you go to a store and you ask the person that, can you advise me which color suits me, and should I buy a black or should I buy a green colored dress? So he is advising you, right? And advice is to recommend something. So when I am giving something as an advice, it is SE. I would say I advise you not to go there. I advise you not to buy pink color. So that is what is the difference between the meanings between the two words that look alike but have different versions of them. Effect and effect. Now, effect is to change or to make a difference, and effect is the result. Like I say, this is a result of you not being attentive in the class, that you are not able to solve the maths problems. Right now, L and I. L is when we are traveling in when we are traveling through the aeroplanes, and when we are asked that which is your preferred seat. So we generally don't prefer the middle seat, and we would like to take a window seat so that we can look outside and enjoy the wonderful world of clouds. But if not, then we also accept the seats that are aisle seats. Aisle seats are the seats that are on the between the rows. The passage between the seats is called aisle, and the aisle seat is the last seat, right? And aisle is an island, right? So these two are very different meanings, but they almost almost are sounding similar. Okay. Now, the most confusing words that we use day to day in our day to day lives is lose. Now, LOS is or something that is not fitting me properly, I would say LOOSE. All right. Then there is another word that is called stationary. So how do we use that? Stationary. NERY means the day to day. They are all called stationary items. But train is stationary. That means the train has stopped somewhere. ARY. So when we are using such words, we have to be particular about what is the spelling in the written area. All right. Now, even except if we mention all the spelling, both may mean very different, and it would give rise to a very funny situation. Then again, when we are writing, also these are the words that we generally use. The speed test, the word that is on the screen, you can see that the difference between TEST and TEXT. Text me is message me, whereas test me is you can test me how good am I. Advise and advise, I have already told you. Now the effect and effect. Effect will be the result and effect will be the cause, right? This is the basic difference, and this is how the words play a very big game in our day-to-day routine life. While we are basically, these words affect more when we are writing, but the effect is a longer one. Now, when we are talking about some words, generally we have learned there is a mindset. We learn less. The word less that comes to our head uh, is sometimes related to something reducing something, right? So when I talk about regardless is irrespective of, right? But if I say irregardless, that's not a word. This is not absolutely a word. It's simply regardless. As in, regardless of what you think about grammar, you look silly if you use it incorrectly. So you have to use your grammar correctly. That is the basic use. Now, piece of it. Peace means the calmness, the tranquility that I need. So when somebody dies, I should not say that here. It should not be an example to explain you, but yes, there are many a times now if somebody passes away, supposedly a big actor passes away, and there is like so many groups are there on your social networking sites that they keep on popping up messages that somebody passed away and somebody breathed his last on the on so and so date and so timing. So we find people sending their condolence messages with peace of mind. So if if you have to do the same, don't forget the word peace is PEACE and not PIECE, right? So you have to be very particular during these using these words while obviously while sending any message, be it with appreciation or be it condolence or be it happiness or be it anything. Now, the first year anniversary, again, while wishing someone. Now, this the first example was of condolence, and the second example is of the first year anniversary. Now, if I say happy first year anniversary, now year and anniversary, they are redundant. We do not need the word year here, because if we use year and an anniversary, they might collide and the meaning would not be anything. So when we are wishing someone for the anniversary, it should always be wish you the first anniversary, or a lot of blessings for your first anniversary, right? Now, moving down to the words I and me. Obviously, we get a lot of confusion where to use I and where to use me. So me is the first word in the sentence. I hear people saying things such as Byron met me at Starbucks this morning all the time, even though it's always wrong. So you should always say Byron and I met at the Starbucks this morning. All right. So this is how we should use. Byron didn't mean me and Byron met at Starbucks. No, it should be Byron and I. So you have to make sure the correct use of the words and the correct placement of the words also. So here, when we are talking about Byron and I, we cannot say me. Now, I as the last word in the sentence, again, it's a common mistake. So do not make that mistake. So here in the first sentence, we saw that we should not use me, whereas in the second sentence, I would ask you not to use I. So herein it should be Kiran talk with Beena and me, not Beena and I. See, when you even listen to that sentence, it sounds absolutely wrong. It sounds absolutely a messy sentence, right? So it cannot be Kiran talked with I, but Kiran talked with me. All right. So it looks very awkward if you use I there. So be very particular about using I and me. Like, I repeat again, when we are talking me as the first word in the sentence, it's absolutely incorrect. Whereas I as the last word of the sentence again makes no sense, or makes an incorrect sentence. No matter how hard we try to prevent them, there are mistakes that happen, that the mistakes that take place. No one of us is perfect, and I would like I don't know whether you guys have heard this or not. It's like nobody is perfect and I'm nobody. So jokes apart, I would like to again stress on this, that we all make mistakes. Even I make mistakes, you make mistakes. Some are small, some are very difficult to be forgiven, and some are very funny too. But surprisingly, we have a hell lot of errors and hell lot of mistakes that take place in and around us when we are communicating with different people. It's not about whether you have been taught to make these mistakes or not taught to make these mistakes. It's just many a times it's a slip of a tongue. But we cannot take our words back. At least when we are into a mode of written communication, there are chances that our mistakes might get erased, or we might get a chance to erase them. But then while we are speaking, we really have to make sure that we do not make any mistake. Now, looking at these mistakes, the first one in the queue is a lot. Many people spell a lot as a lot. Now, it might sound confusing to you, but if you look at the slide, it's properly described there that a lot and a lot are two different words here, right? If you feel unsure, just with the different turns of phrase, such as quite a few or many, so you may replace a lot with quite a few and many if you really feel you're not confident about what exactly the word is. Moving on to the second mistake, or the second error that generally happens, definitely. So I would call you definitely. So how do we spell that while writing emails? These are the errors that generally take place while we write emails to our officials, or when we are into official communication, official written communication. This is a word often misspelled as a. in place of I. If you look at the spelling of definitely, it's DEFINITELY, but generally people write A instead of I. So it will be DEFINATELY, which is absolutely incorrect. So do not fall trap to that. Again, the next word is all right. A very common word used by all of us. Maximum people use this word, but many a times you make a mistake when you are messing up with all. It's not ALRIGHT, but it is ALLRIGHT, right? Now, schedule. Schedule is again a word that is into fashion, and we have been using it into two different modes. Both of them are correct: schedule and schedule. Both of them are correct. It's like words are like fashion, and pronunciation is like fashion that comes and goes away. And generally, you cannot trap up how do you speak, because the lot of times you are influenced by the circumstances that are around you. Or if you are dealing with Americans, more of Americans, your accent would turn out to be Americans. And if you are well versed with British, your accent would be a neutral accent, or the British accent that we generally appreciate using in English, in India, sorry. So this is how, when we use the word, it is misspelled, or the word is spoken incorrectly as schedule. Schedule. It's not schedule. It's schedule or schedule, right? So take care of these mistakes that happen occasionally, or probably all the time. If we are making it, we need to make sure that we eradicate them out of our lives. Now, the next two words are occasion and necessary. Now, how do we use them, and where do we make the mistake is, like recommend, the placement of C's and O's in the word of occasion is tricky. Generally, while writing occasion, we misspell the words, like C can be taken up as S many a times, and there are so many different types of mistakes that happen with these two words. But make sure that there are two C's and one S in the word occasion, right? And not OCASSION, right? Again, with necessary, it has only one C and two S. So you have to remember, there is no other trick but to remember these spellings and use them correctly in our written communication. Now, while ending the email, we have one word that says truly. We have been learning the spelling of true is TRUE, but when we say truly, or when we turn up into an adjective, we remove E and add LY. Right? So you have to make sure that you do not mess up with this spelling also. So truly is in the adverbial form. It's not. Okay? Separate. We do not separate. So SEPERATE or SEPARATE. We just separate from those who spell this word wrong. So SEPARATE. That is the correct spelling. Again, with the word like tomorrow, which is very commonly used in the email communication or the written communication, it's not TOMMOROW or TOMMORROW. It's simple. TOMO, tomorrow, 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 TOMORROW. All right. No doubt we have the spell check option that is available, but many a times it might not work, or many a times it might give you some meaning which is not correct. Or like with a lot of social media things, these things are coming up, that if you are texting up your boss that I am not available tomorrow, or I might take a leave tomorrow, or tomorrow is my off day, you might have to use the this word, because instead, like when you do not have the spell check option available, so in those areas you need to remember the spelling, and you have to use the correct spelling amongst those options given below. All right. Now receive. Remember the rule I after E except C. So whenever we are using words like receive, perceive, deceive, always remember I would come after E. Right? So this is again one small trick that would help you remember the correct spellings. Now, privilege. When we are pronouncing privilege, we get the D sound here, right? So don't fall prey to it. It might mislead you, it might misguide you, and it might make you write D there, but there's no D in the word privilege. So don't flaunt your privilege in such a way. So there's no D D, letter D, but the sound D is their privilege. Maintenance, we maintain something. We do not seek maintenance on something. We seek maintenance. Now, not ENCE, but NANCE, maintenance, nen. Nen, NEN will be a very short E sound, whereas maintenance, NANCE. So this is how you can eradicate the errors of your communication. But make sure you need to remember all of them. So you can also take up a quick screenshot of this webinar slide so that you remember the tricks to not make an error. Moving to the next thing is many a times we stuck up at describing something, right? So we have generally seen girls are good in describing things, whereas boys fall short of few words or few emotions that help you describe something. Now, when we are talking something, or there are places when we have to initiate the conversation. So when we are initiating the conversation, what all are the things that we need to do, or how do we start off with the conversation, or how are we describing the things? Let us look at them. Like if you are looking at the sky and you are initiating the conversation, so you can also ask the question that what was the first time you admired the sky? With the lives that are coming up these days, we do not have time to admire the sky, to look at the nature, to look at the beauty that the nature has gifted us. So let us today find out some time from our busy schedules and admire the sky. Now, what are you looking at into the sky? Or what should you say while you are describing something? Let us look at this small example. What should you say while you describe the same? So when did this happen? So when was the first time that you admired the sky, and what was the occasion, or what exactly did happen? Who all were there with you, and why did you choose to admire the sky or look at the sky? What made you do so, and what did you exactly see? Because whenever we look at something, or whenever we look at an object, we have some purpose. So what was your purpose when you started looking at the sky? Now, and how did you feel about watching the sky? Again, there are two terms in this entire slide. If you look at it, we do not watch the sky, we gaze. Okay, so again, this word should be added to the vocabulary list that you are using. So it's not watching the sky, it's gazing the sky. I wrote watching the sky just to make you understand why is it and what is the reference of that word. Moving ahead, the sentence goes like, I spent a lot of time watching the sky, but I think the most memorable time that I was sky gazing was about 3 years ago. So these are a few things that happen, or these are a few things that you're expected to describe when you are describing the sky. So again, what was the reason, and how dramatic did you feel, or how did you exactly, what all did you see in the sky? So I remember it was, what kind of a sky was it, or how did you feel when you were looking at the sky? So this is how you should start off with the conversation, or this is how you uh, speak about the topic that you are describing. The sky was deep blue, or it was a very middle of the summer that the skies are clear in those days, right? And then the wind started blowing hard, and clouds were moving, and it was blowing like a steam engine. So it's all like how you look at them, or many a times you find different shapes in the sky, so you can also describe that. Or you can also say that something was shining very bright in the sky, and it was like a shape of this, and there is a pole star there, and I could clearly see that pole star. So these all are the things that you make use of while describing something. It can be anything. Like I have taken up an example of sky here. You can take up an example of what happened when you went to see a first movie, or when did you see the first movie independently, and when did you go for a movie with your friends and stuff like that. And there are many other things, like when you can ask that, well, when was the first time you ate a chocolate? So many of us do not remember, but if you try to remember, it would be real fun. So well, I had so many chocolates, I really don't remember exactly when I had my first chocolate. But here in just to make the something I would like to share it up over here, my experience that I ate my first chocolate. My first chocolate in my life was gifted to me by a dentist. So that dentist was my mother's friend, and she said, like, see, these are the teeth that she would wave off with, and she's going to get the new permanent teeth, so let her enjoy her chocolates. And that was how I started eating my chocolates. So that's how I describe my first interaction with the chocolate. uh, but once my brother got a bone wheel and I was very young, and he asked me to taste it. So again, there are instances. Different people might have different experiences and different interactions with the thing called chocolate. But we all love chocolate. The point is, we all have been uh, enjoying the chocolate since we were small, and I think chocolate is like enjoyed by every age group, be it small, young, or old. Now there are other questions also. See, look at the formation of the question also. It's not that did you swim or how did you swim for the first time. It was, when was the first time you went swimming, or when was the first time you entered into the kitchen? When was the last time you made a phone call to your mother? When was the last time you read about freedom? So these are different ways of asking the first times or the last time questions. All right. The proper usage of words. Words, the English vocabulary is, I can say, the vast vocabulary. It has got a biggest vocabulary. It is so vast. It has got a lot of words, and every word has got a different usage. One word cannot be used for the other word. Like in the previous slides, I also gave you an example of gazing and watching. So we see a lot of traffic on the road, but we do not watch them. But I went to watch a movie. So seeing and watching both are happening through my eyes, but I use see for some things that go through my eye, but I watch something. If I'm giving more importance, or if I'm concentrating on something, I'm watching something. All right. Now staring something, you do not like somebody staring at you. So that is another usage of the word. Everything is related to eye, but then the usage is different. Like I told you, we do not watch the stars, but we gaze. We gaze the sky. We gaze the sky or the stars. Similarly, we narrate a story. We do not sing a story. Again, we sing a song, or so how do we use the proper usage of words? It's like we narrate a story. We sing a song. We do not say a song, right? So it's very improper when we are using such words. So please make sure that you always use the apt words with reference to the apt things. We narrate a story, we don't sing a story. We sing a song, we don't narrate a song. Now, then the next thing is poem. We recite a poem. We do not sing a poem, or we do not narrate a poem, neither do we read a poem. We recite a poem. When it comes to lecture, we deliver it. Look at the beauty of the words. All the words are different with reference to the different things that they do. So we deliver a lecture. We don't recite a lecture. Have you ever seen, I am going to recite a lecture today. So friends, let's do this and let's concentrate on this. Have you ever been to a lecture like this? Funny, right? So we hum a melody, right? So if we are singing a song, we sing a song. But when we do not know the wordings of it, we generally go by the music and we say, this is humming. So we hum a melody. We keep on chanting our prayers, or we chant our mantras, right? We do not narrate our mantras, or we do not sing them, but we chant our mantras. So the different words have different references, and they are used with different usages, right? So narration goes with the story, singing goes with the song, recitation goes with the poem. delivery goes with the lecture, and humming goes with the melody. Hope I am clear till here. So make sure that you use the proper words with reference to the proper references. Now, story. We all love to listen to the stories, right? We have been told stories by our grandmothers, and we have been enjoying them while we go off to sleep. And many a times, with the busy schedule or the busy life that we are going through, we feel that if somebody narrates us a story while we go off to sleep, it might be a wonderful day, right? So I think that. I don't know whether you guys think that or not. Now, imagine somebody telling you a story with a very bad tone, or somebody telling you a story like, supposedly, let me take you back into your school days when you learned your first story, The Thirsty Crow. So the crow was very thirsty, he looked for water here and there, and there was no water, and so he started putting up the stones, pebbles in a pot, and then the water came up. The crow drank the water and flew off feeling happy. Nobody would be happy to listen to such, right? So story narration is an art. It's not something that is very mechanical or that anyone, one of us do. Now, in this world, we have been dealing with a lot of things that comes across. When it comes to stories, it becomes a wonderful medium of learning something. So, you might have also looked across the things that are happening around you, and there might be a lot of storytellers that are making money through the art that they possess. And why one should not? Because it's really an art. It's not that anyone, you or me, can do. And stories are a wonderful medium of learning some things also, right? So there's a success story of everyone, and there's a story of success behind every successful person. So what not, you can create a long story around this. Now, what all things should we keep under our mind when we are narrating a story, or when we are into the world of storytelling? Be it a child, be it a grown up, be it something that is a very kiddish thing or something that is a real learning, we all have to make sure that the story is a wonderful one with the narrator also, right? So obviously, whenever we are speaking, not only it's not the fact that while we are speaking a story, while we are narrating a story, we should speak clearly, but whenever and wherever we are and whatever we are doing, make sure that you speak clearly. Pause at the appropriate places. So pause wherein you feel that you need a stop. Do not keep on and on and on and on and on and speak. This does not attract people. This might not be appreciated by people. People do not like that, right? So you're not an express train when it comes to expressing something, right? So be a passenger train. Stop, take halts, wait for some time, move around in a wonderful manner. That is how we have to narrate a story. A story narration is not like reading a chapter before your examination, that you hurriedly read every word or skip a few words out of it, and you have no intonations and you have no full stops and commas, right? English is a wonderful language. It has colons, semicolons, pauses, commas, stops, therefores, because. So they all come with a different intonation and a different purpose. Now let us look at that we need to concentrate on while we are narrating a story. Modify your tone, right? I told you in the beginning that if I am narrating a story and if I keep a similar tone while I start and while I end, it would be very monotonous for you people to listen to that. Then there has to be a control over your speed. Speed, you should not run away with the text. People are sitting there to listen to you. People are there to listen to what exactly are you telling to them through their stories. Your volume, yes. If the volume is too high, it might sound harsh. If the volume is too low, it might not be audible to you guys, right? So I would really appreciate if you guys keep on texting me with reference to the modulations that I use during my webinars, or the speed or the volume. I am open to learning. You can very well come back to me and text me about the speed that I use while I'm speaking, the tone that I use, the volume that I use, irrespective of the technical issues or the cliches that happen. Maybe sometimes your system is slow, then the volume might be a bit low, or sometimes there would be lags. these all are the technical issues. But if you are using correct bandwidth and if you are using correct internet facility given to you, I don't think so there should be any problem with the volume. And yes, speed, you can always text me to go slow, to go fast, whatever you feel, I'm open to that. Speak clearly. uh, when we go to buy a necklace, it might sound a bit girlish, but then you also give necklaces to your friends or your wives or your mothers or your sisters, right? So when you go to buy a necklace, do you buy something that is very ugly or that is shapeless? We generally try to count upon every bead of the necklace. It should have the same size. It should have a similar shape, right? So these all are the things that keep us glued to buying one wonderful piece of a necklace. Pause at the appropriate places. If the beads are going on and on, it would not create anything. So if we need a big necklace, we need to have more beads, and if we need a smaller one, we need lesser beads. So we have to stop at an appropriate place depending on what you exactly need. I need a long one means I have to use a lot of beads in that, or I have to tell that to someone to make a long one for me. So if I don't ask them to stop at a particular place, the person will go on, and then it would be like from top to toe, and it would not be a necklace anymore, right? Use of proper tense. Now tenses, yes, they play a major role while you're speaking English, or while you're narrating something, or while you're telling something. So make sure that you use a proper tense. Now what tense to be used while narrating a story? Now obviously when it's a story, you cannot use a present tense, right? It has to be a past tense. Something that happened becomes a story. Something that is happening right now might not be a story. It can be an experience. But again, experience is falls under the same heading called story. All right. Which tense is used for narrating a story? That question came to you, right? So the writer must decide what is when of the story. So I came and he went. So these all are the expressions that we generally use in the past. And that is how we narrate a story. So again, it's the writer or the narrator who decides what is when of the story. So what is happening when, or is the lion coming first, or the cheetah coming first, or the giraffe coming first, or who is attacking first? That is all that it's the narrator's baby. So he has to decide on when of what is happening in the story. Most stories are told using simple past tense, like I told you. Verbs bring action, motion, and movement to our sentences. So when I say the tiger came and attacked the giraffe, so I have to use these expressions, or I have to use these hand movements to bring life to that story. Otherwise, it would be a very monotonous one, and nobody would be interested in listening to that. Again, while narrating something, or like I told you in the previous slides also, the words are the same. They are synonyms to each other. Synonyms are the similar meaning words which can replace, but then it should perfectly fit there, right? Like I use specs, but I cannot use somebody's specs, right? Because they need to fit me. I need to have the same number, right? There are numbers to our lenses. Even the shape of the specs, if it's too loose, it would come here, and then I would not be able to see properly. Or if it's too tight, it might hurt me somewhere here. So if it's not a perfect fit, it's of no use to me. Whether it's a branded spectacles, right? So similar is the case with the words. If you're using words, if you're using difficult words, also make sure they perfectly fit there. Like remember the last slide, we never narrate a song, we sing a song, whereas we narrate a story and we sing a song. All right. Moving ahead, the next topic for today is phrasal verbs. Hope the topics are interesting, and I hope it's helping you in your day-to-day conversations. Now, if you look at the first picture, it shows the car isn't working, or there's a breakdown. So again, it's a phrasal verb. It's a combination of two words, break and down. So breakdown. It might not literally mean the same many a times, but still we use them off and on to make our language impressive. If you look at the second picture, it shows some weights. Where do we use them? We use them in the gym. So I went for a workout today. It's not outside. It can be outside. It can be inside also many a times. But then make sure that the working out means burning your calories. Right? Then put on and put off. Put on your dress means wear your dress. Put off your tension means remove your tension. Handover, when we are shifting over to a different office or when we are moving over to a different position in the same office, we hand over the entire job, right? We tell what I have done and what you are supposed to do and how it has to be done. So the entire process is called handing over, and the person to whom you are giving means the person who's taking over you. The person who would be working in your place is taking over you, and you are handing over your tasks or your files to that person. So some of the common phrasal verbs are throw away, call off, turn off, wake up, stand up, get into, lift up, give up, figure out, calm down, show off, ran into. So these all are the words that we commonly have been using throughout our lives. Many times we know the meaning, many times we do not know the meanings, many times we do not know the usage of them. So, here at Hello English, we are to help you out with all those problems that you're facing with reference to English and usage of words and the correct usage of words and the common mistakes and the confusing words. We have been dealing with this the entire webinar today. So, we are open to have a pure conversation with you guys when it comes to learning, because your conversations or the uh, comments that we receive from you or your suggestions help us grow wonderfully. All right, because it's not about what we know, but it's about how you guys take it up, or how helpful are we or our data to you guys. Thank you so much for your patient listening, and as I told, down messages for me telling what topic are you interested to in the next webinars, or how would you